Alright guys, welcome to another video in our MS tips and tricks guides. And yeah, no, this is going to be an interesting one because we're going to look at the Type 100, aka the Hyakushiki. Now, this suit is fairly new, came out with the first of the year. It was our New Year's event suit. Not event suit, banner suit. So, we're going to talk about it, essentially. This suit has some interesting qualities to it, and that being said, it's low health for 550 cost. It is really high naturally beam defense wise. It had really low melee resist for a raid. It has decent ranged and melee modifiers. Its speed is okay, and it had okay thrusters. This is a space topography suit, so keep that in mind. Um, and it's got two instant center weapons, and we'll get into that right now. So it's got the Hakushiki beam rifle, which is an E-Pack style beam weapon bleh, with 4 shots. As long as you hit an enemy, it stuns them. There's no charge time on this weapon, and it does a good amount of damage at 2400. So it's good. The Hakushiki beam saber does a large amount of damage as well, and this suit also has a unique set of melee animations. It's got the Birdline launcher, which is the knuckle sealant launcher here in the loadout screen, which is an arced projectile like grenades that also instant stunts, but also applies a debuff onto the enemy movement of the suit. Let me rephrase that. It applies a debuff on enemy suits that limits movement speed. Alright. This thing also has head vocals modified. They stagger. That's it. There's 2 builds for this suit. So basically, you got your survivability build, increasing the health by about 3,000, increasing your thrusters by a lot, putting nothing into damage, and upping melee resist, and a little bit of ballistic. So essentially, the first build, which is survivability build, is thruster control systems level 1 and 2, anti-melee armors level 2 and 3, strength and frames levels 3 through 5. Anti-ballistic armors level 1. Now for the second build, it's going to be more damage oriented. It's the Burst DPS Assassination Hyakushiki, which is level 3 strength and frame, level 3 anti-melee armor. I'm sorry for peeking my mic, by the way. I realized I might be doing that in my current moment. Level 3 anti-ballistic armor, level 3 thruster control systems, and then maxing out melee damage with levels 1 through 4 enhanced melee program. This is going to one-shot a lot of supports. But trading out for damage, you're trading for damage, you're trading out survivability, which means suits like the Gundam Mark II, Gale Googs that manage to outmaneuver your shots, stuff like the Camphor are really going to start hurting, and they will kill you really quickly. So keep that in mind. That's the price you pay for high damage with this suit. Your skills as are follows: the high performance balancer, high spec ambec, maneuver armor level 2. So essentially, dismisses what it does is as normal maneuver armor is basically resistance to instant stuns while boosting. You also take a reduced amount of damage by 10% when hit consecutively. Force injector level 2, which means you have less thruster consumption when when you use your boost to cancel another boost. Melee combo control level 2 allows for 3 swings. Flight control program level 2, which means you're allowed to do maneuvers in the air. AKA how it works, and I'll show it off in the video, is when you use your boost to jump into the air, you're allowed to actually hit your thruster button and either move to any which direction you want. Basically, you're allowed to use an evasive maneuver in mid-air. Emergency evasion control system, level 1, dodge roll. And backbinder special cushioning. This is a skill that's on very few suits at the current moment. The only other suit that I know of that has this skill is the Super Gundam, which came out last week. The week before this video has been recorded. And what that basically means is reduces HP lost from backbinder damage by 15%. Shots on the back do less damage. It's not a special back buffer, so don't get them confused. Essentially, the wings on the back of the suit are binders. For those of you who are not super familiar with Gundam and mobile suits. So the back of the Hyakushiki, those wing-looking devices, those are your binders. You take 15% less damage from shots on them. Let's keep that in mind. So, as we went over kind of the stats of this suit, the suit, as I said before, the pros is high damage, cons, low survivability. The suit is really good. It's a pretty balanced suit, if I may say so myself. You see a lot of them. It's kind of the preferred 550 raid from what I've seen. It's not outclassing the Gabera Tetra. The Gabera Tetra does its own thing in its own way, and the Hyakushiki does its own thing in its own way. But this is a good calling for an entry into the Zeta era for the game. And yeah, so I guess with that, we'll see you over in the gameplay section. Alright guys, welcome to the gameplay portion of today's video. Essentially what we're going to be talking about here is it's not really a combo per se. This suit is pretty cut and dry in the sense of both your ranged weapons are going to stagger if they hit. This is a precision based suit with a really high damaging melee combo. So essentially as follows. These enemy suits are at 500 cost. Practice range does not allow you to put it up to 550 and or unrestricted. So note the damage is going to be a little bit more inflated compared to against 550 suits. But you will see 500 suits in unrestricted and 550 lobbies. So I guess it works out pretty well. We'll start with the Bird Lion launcher. Essentially, you want to arc this thing. As you can see, the reticles change to more of a grenade indicator. The arc on this, I still haven't learned myself, but essentially you want to aim about like this to hit that gun cannon. Maybe up a little bit more. You can see we are still pretty low. We hit the waist of the gun cannon. As you saw, it's staggered. And as long as you saw the white animation on the model of the suit, the stat debuff is applied, which limits movement of the suit. By limited movement, I mean the speed of the suit overall has gone down. Does not mean it is going to consume more thruster. It just means that every single movement it does is slightly slower than before. Your beam rifle is not affected by auxiliary generators. Remember this. It's an E-Pack, energy pack beam rifle. It is magazine fed beam rifle. It is affected by reload parts. Did not mention that on the loadout screen, but thought it make more sense if I showed you how it works in game. So with the other beam rifles in the game, you have kind of a dash indicator, like dash out of dash for suits with a recharging beam rifle. Suits with E-Pack basically will have numbers like a normal magazine, 4 out of 4 in case for this suit. The GPO1 and the GPO4 both and the GPO3 have have E-Pack rifles as well. So those are also affected by reload parts. But this is how it works. It's an instant shot stun. As long as you're when you're in effective range, you will stun as long as you hit the opponent. Fly in, hit the melees. You see there's a special downswing. Be careful with downswing, as since it's 2 parts, you only get the full damage when both parts hit. Vulcans are a pretty good option on the suit. They don't do a lot of damage, but you do have 60 of them. So it takes a good amount of them to actually stun. As you see there, I even missed a bunch of them because I stopped paying attention, really. So keep that in mind. Also, you don't have any blast stabilizer. Mobile suit explosions will cause you to stagger, so be careful. What I would mainly advise when you are hitting a downed opponent, since the kick it can be relatively hard to hit based on your skill level of your usage of the suit, I highly recommend just neutral swinging a downed opponent because it is a downward neutral swing. So, just to prove my point, just knock this opponent down, right? Hit with the neutral swing for 3k health, you know? Instead of hitting it for slightly less, with your downswing. So, just for a reiteration, hitting for 1926 is 1 hit for your downswing and possibly not even hitting the second part to maximize the damage, while you just hit with the neutral swing, do 1,000 more, and damage a module a lot easier. So that's kind of my opinion on your melee combo for this suit. Other than that, the suit is pretty cut and dry. Beam rifle or burn line stun into dashing up and meleeing the shit out of the opponent. What you can do is essentially stun lock the enemy with both burn line and your beam rifle. That way you can close the gap for further ranges and or more safely. So essentially what I'm saying here is I one shot my E-Pack, say this gun can's looking at me, stun, switch to my burn line. As soon as he get back up, burn line him. That way I have a safer approach to my opponent. And execute. The suit's quick, so don't underestimate its speed. It's quick on the ground, even though it has space topography. It does increase thrusters on the first build will definitely help you out. But yeah, no, this is the Yakushiki. It's a pretty fun suit if you manage to roll it. I highly suggest using it. It's probably one of the best rates at 550. It's like the best rate at 550, like hands down, in my opinion. Like, granted, all the other raids do their own things in their own special ways, but the thing is, this is the most powerful one. This outputs the most burst damage, and this outputs a lot of speed on both ground and space. So therefore, 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Gotta use it. Must get suit. Alright? Your main threats here against this suit, though. Mark II. Now, Mark II is going to shred you if it catches you. Gelgoose that are really good. Don't underestimate them. They're not getting as hurt. Alright? You don't really have to worry about beam weapons. But keep in mind that still, general types will chunk you. They have basically your latent 40% beam resist is only going to equivalent down to about 20% because of a general type. And then you got to add on the fact that they might have range modifiers on that suit as well. So essentially you're going to be taking base damage, or maybe just a little bit more on positive on their side for damage than, you know, getting anything really decreased. So with that in mind, you need to be careful of most generals, especially at the unrestricted range when you're in the Hyakushiki. Raids and supports, they're more 1v1. You can 1v1 them a lot easier. You can 1v1 generals, but you have to really outplay your opponent. But no, this suit's really good. If there's anything I missed, let me know down in the comment section. Any suits you want to see in the future, also let me know down there. But yeah, no, this is Granny Warrior, aka Range Power, signing out.